watching Auto News Now. I'm Kristen Strakalaitis. On today's episode, automotive news publisher Casey Crane sat down with Mark Royce, president of General Motors, at the Automotive News Congress in Nashville last week. They talked about General Motors' focus on alternative energy solutions.
So let's stay on powertrain for a minute. You've mentioned before that Ultium could be used in other capacities other than just your own General Motors vehicles, cars and trucks. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, you know, we have a great partnership with Honda, and so we're gonna develop, you know, in high volume, affordable, very affordable EVs.
Is it a partnership, or are you selling them your platform?
No, we are co-developing the platform using, you know, the General Motors propulsion piece of it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then
it's not quite as, you know, transactional.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then again, talking about propulsion, you and I have talked about this a lot. I'm a big believer in hydrogen.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
There's big opportunity there. When General Motors thinks about, you know, again, all these investments going into your EV platform, how does that play in? And you know, why do you think the adoption hasn't been quicker?
Yep. Well, we're going to start using hydrogen. We've already, I think, made this a little bit public, but you know, we're going to put hydrogen fuel cells into trains, and so each train takes about 25 hydrogen fuel cells. So if you think about the duty cycle of a train, it's hard to get
for the
going.
audience. How big is one of your fuel cells?
Pardon me?
How big is one of your fuel cells?
Dimensionally, yeah, it's like a little bit bigger. The Gen 3 is a little bit bigger than this cube. Yeah,
they've come down a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the duty cycle of a train, you know, trains are pretty hard to get up and going, right? And so if you think about all the power it needs to get up and go and pull things that are heavy, like other cars maybe, hopefully, you know, once it gets up and running, it's pretty good to sustain that, right? You've got the momentum, you've got the kinetic energy, and that's why the fuel cell electric trains are very compelling. I'd also say you'll see it on things like the lunar rover, right? You know, you'll see some of that, you know, as time goes on the moon. But I would say on a retail basis, you know, the big heavy trucks that you see are really compelling, and there'll be people buying, you will see them buy our fuel cells. And then if you think about the energy density that we have in our cells today and for the foreseeable future, the heavy duty truck cycle is pretty tough to solve with a regular set of batteries from a towing and longevity standpoint. So you think about the train, you think about the heavy duty truck, and the duty cycle that those are used in for people to make money in their livelihoods, it ain't that far off. And so hydrogen fuel cells in heavy duty trucks is very compelling for us, and I'll leave it at that.
So you don't want to talk anymore about who you might sell these fuel cells to?
Well, I mean, you know, I think if you think about it, we've got a JV, manufacturing JV with Honda. And so, you know, Honda and us have a plan to, you know, sell those fuel cells first in the beginning generations and then as it goes on. But I would say we will sell fuel cells to people and power companies that, and we already are, that need to get an electric vehicle infrastructure into places that is very difficult to get it and very expensive. So if you think about the rural highways of America that don't have a way to get really big power into places that used to be gas stations, a portable hydrogen fuel cell for about $250,000 right now, it'll come down, will power a lot of cars in a place that's portable. And so with the only thing being consumed is hydrogen, and with a byproduct of water. And so that infrastructure, and actually we're going to look at deploying these into our cruise footprints for autonomous vehicles, because we can get a lot of charging capacity into those networks of autonomous vehicles like San Francisco and some of those other duty cycles. So there's a lot of use for those, KC, and it's
How far
it's
out
very
are
exciting.
we? I'm excited about it. How far out?
we're not that far out because we're already making the portable hydrogen fuel cell charging stations. And so now we're beginning to deploy. Actually, this is a great story because if you take electric vehicles on a ride trip, a development ride trip, out in Moab or something like that, it's pretty hard, right? Yeah. So we take our hydrogen fuel cells and we run our electric fleets when we develop our cars and trucks, which, that's pretty cool, right? I would say there's LA companies that run production studios in LA that really want our hydrogen fuel cells to power their sets. Okay, so this stuff is coming from a sustainability and zero emission standpoint, and it's coming very fast.
Thanks for tuning in. Listen now to Casey's full interview and Jamie Butter's headlines on the Daily Drive podcast, available on all podcasting platforms. Have a great day.